So as you can see, we've actually left Outland for the time being because, well, we got contacted by the Bronze Dragonflight that something needed to be handled and helped taken care of. And this was essentially like one of the first times we actually got contacted by the Bronze Dragonflight about this particular thing. Now, of course, this wouldn't really come to fruition until later, and they would do a bit more of this, of course, in Wrath, and I'll get to that later. But, of course, in Cataclysm is where it really kind of came to a head. But this was kind of like the first that we were getting a glimpse of wait a minute, something is going on here that we have to help deal with and, actually, yeah. A possible undoing of the timeline and such, and yeah, like that's just there's a whole thing about this obviously when it comes to dealing with all this, and what the Bronze Dragon like, and keep in mind this was back in Burning Crusade, where this was like our first like real, oh hey look who it is, Sword Army, who we have been currently helping out in Dragonflight. Now, I will be showing you guys some of these other dungeons later on, such as End Time, Well of Eternity, and Hour of Twilight when we get to Cataclysm, and I will show you the Calling of Stratholme when we get to Wrath. We're going to be doing Old Hillsbrad Foothills today, and then the next video we'll be doing the Black Morass, since that is part of Burning Crusade. Gosh, I hope to never go back to Mount Hyjal again. I still have to go back to Dragon Soul, however, I'm happy to go ahead and share this. When I was taking on Ragnaros for Time Walking Firelands, I actually got the Handmaiden mount to drop. It actually showed up in my chest on one of my alts, so that was really nice. That's one less mount I have to go to Dragon Soul to farm. I still have to go get 12B, but what I especially also want is Blazing Drake, because if I get this, I don't have to do the Spine of Deathwing again. I would just have to go to Ultraxion, and that's it. But anyways. So, there's a dungeon here in Old Hillsbrad Foothills. And I say that jokingly, but that's only because, believe it or not, there's actually a ton of extra stuff here that you probably would not know about unless you took the time to explore it. And I will admit, this is an aspect of some of these dungeons that I do like. I do like it when they give these dungeons like a bunch of extra stuff for players to find, and where it's like, oh man, look at this, it's so cool. And of course, this is a glimpse into how it works when it comes to like going to these old time travel areas, because there's a ship right in the rocks. I mean, for goodness sakes. Now, you'll also notice something else here. Now, we're in Old Hillsbrad Foothills, okay? I bring that up because you'll probably notice something about my character. I'm actually a human! So yeah, when you come to this area, you get Temporal Illusion, which is disguised by the Bronze Dragonflight to make us blend in with the area, because if they saw an orc or another horde race running around, they'd be like, hey! But because we are here as a alliance race, they're not going to say anything. Even if we ride a white bone steed with the horde flag on it. But yeah, the dungeon mainly takes place in this area here. But this is the area I actually want to go ahead and show you guys, because this is where a lot of the cool extra stuff, including over here as well, has. There's a ton of extra stuff in this area. This is basically the Old Hillsbrad zone from back in the day, and they really tried to make it seem like you went back in time. There's a lot of references and old Easter egg stuff here. Now, there are some Lordaeron people here. Now, there's, here's one right here. Aged Dalaran Wizard. That's supposed to be a reference to, like, one of the old human models from back in the day. That they just kind of kept around here. So that right there is already a reference. Like, there's an entire list. In fact, I was actually going to pull it up just to make sure I tried to show you guys everything, because there's a lot of really cool ones I really want to show you guys. So we'll probably be doing this more than doing the actual dungeon, which does take a bit of time. But I bring this up because I think a lot of people have never even seen some of these. Now, some of these are just generic, like Hillsbrad, Citizen, and such. But then we start to encounter some other known ones, some names here. For example, there's Caretaker Smithers. Time for old Smithers to take a break. There's Herod the Bully. Now you're probably thinking, who's Herod? Well, now he actually doesn't show here. Oh, here he is. Nope, never mind. So yeah, because some of these got changed, some of these are not the same bosses as they were before, but Herod is a boss back in the old Scarlet Monastery. You there! Yes, you, peasant boy, come quickly. I must tell you something. I must tell you about my greatness, lest such things are lost in the void. Ooh, yeah! Gaze upon my rippling musculature. Bask in the glow of my physique. We've got Hillsbrad citizens. There's Natasha Morris. And then we have... Okay, wait, no, he's not in here. My bad. Wrong house. Who's that strange person walking to our house? Never mind him. Oh, here's a few more that ran by me. Now here's a name you may recognize. kel'thuzad. Yes, back when he was part of the Kirin Tor. Before he joined the Lich King's forces. And that's Helcular. Now, give me a moment here. Also, there's a few more right there. There's Little Jimmy Vicious, Sally Whitemane, and Renault Mograine. There's a beggar right here as well. If you follow certain characters or go to certain places at certain times, you'll actually catch some things. Like some cool moments. There's apparently a moment where these three interrogate a doll. I'm going to show you if I can catch it on camera for you guys. Also, an aspiring merchant named Zixel, a goblin, making his first mark. And over here we have a young Nat Pagle, learning from Hal McAllister. Just a few more swings and it'll be ready. There's something special in particular I want to show you guys, but I'm waiting for the right moment because I don't want to trigger it just yet. Now, here are some other names you may catch. Henry Malib, Bilger the Straight-Laced, Raleigh the True, and then Nathanos Maris. Yes, that is the same Nathanos. Nathanos Blightcaller. If you read the Sylvanas book, you'll know that's him. Where he eventually... Now, according to him, back in the beginning of Shadowlands... Because keep in mind that if we were to look at the Eastern Kingdoms and where the old Hillsbrad is... So here's the current Hillsbrad. So Hillsbrad's here, and then you'll notice the Plague Lands and Tirisfal Glades are up here. And then, of course, you go up towards where Quel'Thalas would be. I only bring that up because back in the pre-launch event of Shadowlands, we take him on I believe it was somewhere around here. One of the houses in this area, and he was like, "Oh, you have found me in my old home. And you've come to confront me for all the bad things I've done." And I find that interesting that he's here, but, you know, probably discussing some other things. Now, give me a moment. I'm going to just pull up this list just because I want to make absolutely sure I capture everything. Because I wanted to make sure I showed him, but he's not the only one I want to make sure I show off. I apologize. I should have done this beforehand. My bad. Because somebody did post a list. Here it is. Here it is. So there's an entire list of all the different NPCs that you can see from this previous time period and how they are currently. So Nathanos was one of the big ones I really wanted to show off for you guys. Nat Pagal over there as well. And I'm trying to remember if there's anyone over here. There might be over there. Hugh, Alex, Victor, Harvey, and Phil. And I find myself, and I'm looking at this list to see if I can remember who some of them are. I'm gonna try to remind myself about who some of these are people, some of these people are myself. So yeah, you can actually find Hecular's remains in Hillsbrad Foothills nowadays. So yeah, Harold the Bully that we saw earlier, he became a boss in the Scarlet Monastery. There's some other people in a location I'm not going to just yet. So Raleigh is Raleigh the Devout in Hillsbrad Foothills. We saw Caretaker Smithers earlier, right? Yeah, you can still apparently find him in Hillsbrad Foothills nowadays. He's just older, obviously. I don't know if I see any of these kids here as, like, characters there. Farmer Kent. Now, I'm wondering where those other kids went. A traveling salesman named Thomas Van Yance. So I'm going to follow these kids around for a bit to see if I can catch the event that they're supposed to apparently interrogate a doll. Now, I'm sure you guys know exactly who Sally Whitemane is. I mean, do I really have to tell you guys who Sally Whitemane is at this point? Scarlet, Crusade, now one of the Four Horsemen. I mean, everybody should know who Sally Whitemane is at this point. Now, Mograine, obviously that name is going to be very familiar to you guys. But you're probably going, well, which one is that? Well, that's not one of the two that we usually have been encountering. Renault was the one from back in the day. That was actually the bad one. The one who basically turned on his family in favor of the Scarlets. And, yeah. He was also part of the, if you got, by the way, Captain Sanders and Captain Edward Haynes. I just be making sure we wasn't followed. It be clear. But yeah, if you got the corrupt, yeah, I'm holding off on that. But yeah, there's Herod the Bully. He becomes a boss later in the Scarlet Monastery. There's kel'thuzad and Hecular again. I'm really hoping that I'll actually get to show this to you guys. I don't know how to trigger it or when it happens, how often it happens. There is a dungeon in here. I swear I will show it to you guys, but... Again, this is all stuff that I imagine a lot of people... How often do you think players made their way down here to check out this stuff as opposed to just going straight to doing the dungeon, right? How many of you watching this never had any clue that this stuff was here? I hate this place and everyone in it. Smithers do this. Smithers do that. Oh, so I'm a farmer now, eh? So I'm gonna have to harvest stuff, eh? I hope one day this whole place becomes one big graveyard. And all the loudmouths are buried right damned here. Him. Yeah, I imagine that some of the developers were having fun trying to come up with all these fun little Easter eggs with all these characters that would play a significant role later. Keep in mind, of course, players who did the Scarlet stuff back in Vanilla would have seen Renault and Sally here and been like, oh my gosh, look who it is! Or, of course, if they did Noxramas, they would have been like, oh my gosh, it's kel'thuzad! Unfortunately, I don't know if I'm actually going to get to have that happen. Also, we're going to be encountering another Easter egg later on when we do the dungeon, and I'll point it out when we get there. But I should also mention that this dungeon also helps capture a part of the story, though it is obviously a little different from the actual story in the book, because this is part of the reason we're here is because someone's trying to change things, so how they actually happened in the story, and we're here to make sure it actually does happen. But the story of this dungeon takes place in the book known as Lord of the Clans. Oh, is this it right here? Yep, captured critter. Stop! Intruders are in the castle! It's a frog. So, you thought you could break into this Palace of the Light and run away with our secrets? Vicious, interrogate this criminal at once. My pleasure, my lady. Tell me everything, scum. Tell me or I'll rip the secrets from your flesh. So, Vicious becomes an interrogator for the Scarlet Crusade and the Scarlet Monastery, just as a reminder. Isn't talking, my lady. I know it holds secrets. Naughty secrets. My champion, destroy this monster. The infidel shall be purified, my lady. It has struck a fatal blow. I have failed you. Mograine has fallen. You shall pay for this treachery. Arise, my champion. Arise. At your side, my lady. We will attack as one. And they kill the frog. We are victorious. She pretends to cast a healing spell, Renault. Lol. So I imagine anyone who did the Scarlet Monastery back in Vanilla must have loved this little Easter egg that back then they were even planning on doing the same thing. Because, yeah, even later on when we take her on in the Scarlet Monastery, you could tell that she and Mograine had some kind of relationship developed to that point. Now, all this is really cool stuff. Now, before I show you guys the big one, I'm going to go check out over here and see if there's anything cool over in this area. Because looks like there's a whole town area over here. I'm like, let me go ahead and see if there's anything cool over here. Because this is Old South Shore, and of course there's some cool stuff here. Nice references, Easter eggs. Never mind. The bronze dragonfly is like, hey, don't go wandering off. We need you to stay focused on why you're here. But there's cool stuff to explore. Hey! Let me check over here. Let me go this way. Not into that direction. Let me go over to the road over here. Let's see if they prevent me from going over here via the road. Nope, nope. That's where the bronze dragonfly is like, no, stop. This is as far as I'll let you go. So yeah, looking at I've shown you quite a few of them, you know. Bilger, Nathanos was obviously one of the big ones I wanted to show you guys. There's some other ones here in the inn, though. that I wanted to go ahead and make sure I showed you guys. Farmer Kent. But there's one thing in particular I really want to show you guys, which is also a nice lead into Wrath. Keep your voices down. There are strangers about. Brothers and sisters, I have called you here today to discuss the fate of Lordaeron. I hear things that should not be. The dead rise, undead from the frozen Northlands. Whole cities have gone missing. I have heard that Northrend is lost. We must stand at the ready. I have faced undead before. They are ruthless killing machines, devoid of any emotion or compassion. I have battled them as well. We are ill-prepared as a kingdom to withstand such an assault. What do you propose, Mograine? Propose? I propose that we prepare. That we prepare our loved ones, family, and friends for the possibility of an undead holocaust. And there is this. By the light! What is it? I have had this object in my possession for 10 years, since Blackrock's Spire. I wrestled it free from the remains of an orc lieutenant, a dark caster. It is from their home world. Do not get too close. I laid a hand upon it once, only once and never again. The memories of that day still linger. I surmise that this object is the living embodiment of shadows, darkness. It is a manifestation. It is a void. I do not see how this evil artifact is relevant to the undead. We must destroy it. No, old friend. It is very relevant. Let me ask you this, brothers and sisters. Can good exist without evil? Can there be light without dark? And if that answer is no, then could it be possible that because this artifact exists, that its polar opposite must also exist? Could you imagine what the material manifestation of the light could do against the undead? Nonsense, Mograine. It must be destroyed. It consumed the light. Impossible. Is it getting lighter? Its coloration is changing. So they each start casting light spells on it. By the light! Could it be? Could this be it? I must know. I will know. He touches the crystal. It is beautiful. What I felt when I touched it. The light coursed through me and I through it. It healed my spirit. Your hand. It is healed. Let us never again speak of this day. Our enemies are many. They need not know we hold such artifacts. I have seen it. From this blessed crystal, we will forge a weapon. This weapon will hold inside it a piece of each of us, and when it is used against the undead, it shall cast them down, and in its wake, it will leave only ashes. What'll it be? Oh, what'll it be? The Ashbringer. I'll come back later. And thus, one of the most important weapons in the history of the setting was born that day. Obviously, they didn't make it right here, but this is where the idea of them making it was born. So yes, that was a piece of a Naru that he brought forth, which, as we have learned, once you kind of get rid of the shadow and void and fill it with light, that's what happens. And so they would use that, of course, to create the Ashbringer. Now, this was, of course, the other big group of people that I want to hold off on showing you guys. Obviously, that is Mograine, the Ashbringer. There's Fairbanks. There's, of course, Tyrion Fordring, a younger Tyrion Fordring. And Abendis, who you guys probably remember from, well, we encounter her later on in Wrath as the soon-to-be High General Abendis of the Scarlet Onslaught. Frances Lynn, the barmaid. Barkeep Kelly. Chef Jessen. Like, all these are NPCs that we actually can encounter later on. Like, these are just like their younger versions. Stalvin Mistmantle. Just taking a nap here in the inn. Finn Odelic. And other Kirin Tor mages. And Talon. Now, if you need me to, let me go ahead and just re-pull this up just to remind myself. Yes, that is Talon Fordring, who would later become a High Lord of the Scarlet Crusade, who is already prepping for that, as you can see. So yeah, this is all really cool Easter egg stuff that has nothing to do with the dungeon at all. This is all just extra stuff they didn't have to put in here, but if you want cool lore and Easter egg stuff, that stuff is awesome. I love that they bothered to put that stuff in here. So now how about we do the actual dungeon itself? Oh, man. I hope you guys didn't mind that, because I know I've just spent almost half an hour just showing you guys all this extra fluff that has nothing to do with the actual dungeon that we're doing. Now, I'll talk a bit more about the story that's taking place here, because I actually did read that book. When I say read, I, of course, mean I listened to the audiobook. And it's actually, I really like the book, even though it is a little sad and depressing. But because of what happens in it. But it's if you want to know more about Thrall's backstory, it's a very good book in that regard. So this, of course, a couple of the bronze dragons. You must use the incendiary bombs at the barrels inside the internment lodges of Durnhold Keep. Once 5 bombs have been ignited and the diversion has been set, then you will find Thrall in the basement prison of Durnhold and set him free. Follow him and make sure that he does not die. Brazen will fly to Durnhold when you are ready. I need a pack of bombs. Here are more of the incendiary devices. Be careful with these. They can cause a great deal of disruption to time if used improperly. It was Taretha who created the original diversion at Durnhold, allowing Thrall to escape. Now the Infinite have captured Taretha. The diversion will not happen without our involvement. You must use the incendiary devices that I give you and burn down the internment lodges. When you are ready to fly to Durnhold, let me know and I shall take you. So yeah, this is Durnhold Keep. And if you ever go back here in the current timeline, it's not here anymore. And I'll explain why when we get to the end of this about what happens. Because like I said, a lot of this takes place in the book. Because in the book, so Thrall, if you've seen the Warcraft movie, part of what they did in the story there was accurate. When it came to when Thrall was born, how Gul'dan actually saved his life, taking the life out of, whether or not that's entirely accurate or not, I did like the idea that Gul'dan used that to actually save the life of Thrall, and kind of cause him to be, a bit more green than what he is, kind of partaking in the Fel, and why he looks like that, even though he didn't partake of drinking the demon blood like Grom and the others did. But that when the deaths of Durotan and not Agra, oh gosh, not Agra, Thrall's mother, oh gosh, I'm actually blanking on her name at the moment. Draka? I believe Draka, yeah. But yeah, when you see in the movie, basically the idea of her basically saving his life by setting him in the river, and at the end of the movie you'll notice he gets found by a human. That human was Blackmore. And he was a really, really horrible person. Deep within the caverns of time, the brooding dragon Nozdormu has awakened. Since the world was young, the bronze dragonflight has safeguarded the winding labyrinth, monitoring the shifting timeways to ensure the delicate balance of time is upheld. So, Thrall was basically raised by this human named Blackmore, who was not a great person. He was a drunk, and he was a rather mean, abusive drunk. But he also, let's just say this was also during a time where, you know, the demonic court invasion happened, and then the stuff involving, you know, Blackhand and Doomhammer and, you know, Gul'dan and all that stuff happened, which led to, as you can see here, internment camps for when the Horde basically got taken down and were made prisoners by the humans. Now, I know that I am going to probably sound a little biased here, being someone who usually plays Horde more than Alliance, but the whole idea and concept of internment camps, where, let's just say they weren't exactly being nice to these Orc prisoners, they are, like, severely mistreating them, is something that I personally just have a big problem with. Now, I've heard some people, especially Alliance players, say that the Orcs had this coming. And I can't possibly agree with that. Like, especially when it comes to how horribly they were mistreated here. And let's just say a lot of humans have become extremely distasteful to the point where some have said that they are actually okay with just straight up genociding the Orcs. Because of what happened during the demonic invasion back then. So because we have the pack of bombs, you can go ahead and start planting them in these places. Because this is something that Tirith... So in the book, I'm kind of trying to help recap to explain what's going on here. So Blackmore got it in his head that he could possibly use Thrall as a means to possibly take over leadership of the humans. They weren't necessarily the Alliance at that point. They were kind of the Alliance, but not like how we know them today. And there was going to be likely civil wars going on amongst the humans because there were, some other human kingdoms, like Stormwind and Lordaeron and such, and the idea was that they would have wanted more territory and power, and it likely would have had a civil war with a lot of the power grabbing going on, not to mention some of the other kingdoms that were going on at the time, including the elves and the dwarves and such. We got a glimpse of this in the Warcraft movie. So Blackmore got it in his head that he could use Thrall and turn him into an asset. He didn't necessarily look upon Thrall as like, oh, let me take care of this poor young abandoned orc who has no parents. No, he looked at Thrall as he could be a nice tool that I could use to grab power for myself, because he thought he could actually take power over the human kingdoms by having Thrall basically be like one of his champions. Like, he looked upon Thrall as a possible, like, he could train him and, like, to be, like, a great warrior. And he basically did, like, put him, like, in arena fights like a gladiator. And he started to also, like, teach him things and raise him when it came to, like, language and being able to talk and communicate. Because he looked upon Thrall as, I will raise you as a great gladiator general for my forces that you will lead to defeat other human kingdoms for me, and then I will gain power over all the human kingdoms, and they will follow me, and I will be I will rule on high, a sultan amongst the humans. Which you can see why this guy was a complete moron. Not to mention, as I said, he was a abusive drunk. Like, I've heard some people, they can be like, happy drunks and such. But he, on the other hand, was a rather mean drunk, a very violent drunk. So, there was this girl that lived there in Durnold Keep that saw how Thrall and the orcs were treated, and, well, let's just say she's actually a rather compassionate person, to the point where she hated how they were mistreating Thrall. Because even though he was raising him, he wasn't exactly being nice to him, and neither were the other humans, because he was an orc, and they thought he was completely, free reign to be able to just, like, go ahead and mistreat and abuse as much as they saw fit, because he's just an orc. And the humans were very resentful and hateful towards the orcs because of the amount of humans that got killed when the demonic horde invasion happened. So they were more than okay with going ahead and mistreating and abusing the orcs, including Thrall, even though Blackmore wanted Thrall to be his great champion, he was more than okay with treating him basically like a pet or a toy. So Taretha got compassion to the point where she wanted to help Thrall, because she couldn't stand seeing him mistreated so badly anymore. And they actually, over time, she gained a friendship with him, and he was extremely, of course, thankful to her, because of course he would be. Why wouldn't he be thankful to someone who actually showed him some compassion and actually helped show Thrall that not all humans were horrible? If it wasn't for her, Thrall probably would be a lot more hateful towards humans than he actually is. Heck, he probably could have been as hateful towards humans as Garrosh ended up being. But yeah, she orchestrated a distraction to help him escape out of here and actually get out of there and get to any of his people that were still left out there. So after the events of this dungeon, which I will show you, Thrall ends up running into the likes of, he's able to, like, get wind of possible orcs just kind of, like, hiding out in caves and such. And that's where he encounters Grom. Grommash Hellscream. And that leads him to Drekthar. So let's just say that during this time, he learns how to be, a warrior from Grom. He learns how to be a shaman from Drekthar. And he also gets to eventually meet Orgrim Doomhammer. And you can kind of see how this kind of starts to really lead to what would happen later on.
You there! Fetch water, quickly! Get these flames out before they spread to the rest of the keep! Hurry, damn you!
So this is the first boss who shows up in response. Lieutenant Drake was an ambitious military man with his eyes set upon the glory of command during the Second War. His ambition was only matched by his hatred for the green-skinned orcs who had slain so many of his companions. A hatred which took form in his cruel treatment of the prisoners in the internment camps of Durnhold Keep. So yeah, like I said, guys like him really, really treat them horribly. Does he drop that sword? Because that's not a bad-looking sword right there.
I know what you're up to, and I mean to put an end to it. Permanently.
So he has Whirlwind, Mortal Strike, Hamstring, Frightened Shout, and Exploding Shot. So yeah, think of him like an Arms War, except he also has Exploding Shot. I actually don't remember if he's in the book or not. Forgive me, it's been several... It's been, like, I think a few years since I read that book, so whether or not he's actually in that book is something I actually forget at the moment.
Must not go free!
Huh. He dropped that mace. So you're probably wondering, well, wait a minute, why are we here and why is this happening? Well, what the infinite... I'm just going to go ahead and get away. Yeah, this is where we first learn about the infinite dragonflight. And what the infinite dragonflight is trying to do here is they figured if we prevent Thrall from getting released, he can't become the new war chief of the Horde, and therefore other things that happen, you know, good things that we need to have happen, like him helping out with the Horde getting free and helping unite for the events of Warcraft 3 and such, would never happen. Therefore, our goals to have all life on Azeroth destroyed and the Burning Legion win would finally come to fruition. So yeah, that's why they want to make sure that Thrall doesn't get out. And why they imprisoned Taretha to prevent her from being able to actually, like, release Thrall and have him be free. Hey, buddy.
Loktar, friend. What is it you wish?
Who are you? Just leave me be.
Loktar,
You are friends of Taretha? So, this is her new plan? Very well, then.
Loktar,
I have plans for my people,
What is it
stranger.
you wish?
One day they shall overthrow their oppressors and rise as one. They will break free from the bonds that hold them, and from that uprising shall be born the Orcish Horde. The true Horde! Oh, sorry. Like, he's not Garrosh. We will leave when you are ready. So, the thing about this dungeon is that it's actually one big escort quest.
Loktar, friend. What
Let's
is
go,
it you
Thrall.
wish? Very well, then. Let's go.
So yeah, Metzen did provide some voice acting for this. Not entirely, but some here and there. What's the meaning of this? Guards! That's enough out of him. As long as we're going with a new plan, I may as well pick up a weapon and some armor. Let's go. Blackmore will have your head. So yeah, this dungeon can get a little annoying in the fact that it is one giant escort quest.
My freedom.
What's hilarious is that Blackmore basically caused his own demise. Not because of what happens later, but because of how he raised Thrall. He taught Thrall to be a great warrior and gladiator because he thought he could use him that way, when what he was doing was preparing Thrall for what would happen later. Now, this next boss, this is Captain Scarlock. This guy's a paladin, by the way. I only bring that up because people think all paladins are good guys. That's not true.
Thrall, you didn't really think you would escape, did you? You and your allies shall answer to Blackmore, after I've had my fun.
No longer. Loktar, friend.
Run away.
What is it you wish?
Run away.
So yeah, he has a lot of paladin stuff.
Run away.
Guards! Guards!
Fiercely loyal to a Daedalus Blackmore, Captain Scarlock rose to the ranks of the Durnhold military alongside his friend, Aeladin Pernahold. When Adolin decided to take up operations in the Alterac Mountains, Scarlock stayed with his lord and mentor. He became Aedalus's most trusted comrade and advisor, earning the title Blackmore's Spear. So, yeah, this guy, he's a paladin, and he's a piece of scum. I only bring that up because I've actually heard some people say that they think that all paladins are good guys. This guy is proof that that is not true. This guy was scum. And he just, like, you heard what he said, right? He's like, he says, you'll answer Blackmore after I've had my fun with you. Yeah.
Loktar, friend.
Very well.
What is...
I'm sorry.
Lies just west of here, since time is of the essence.
So unfortunately I don't know what it is. I have something that
Let's
actually skips all
ride.
that dialogue. But basically you're just kind of like telling him like, hey, look, I can't, unfortunately, like, Taretha's not here. And what you end up having to do is like, he's like, where's Taretha? And like, look, Thrall, I can't really tell you. He's like, I will not run. Like, where is she? And I have to tell him that she's at Terran Mill. And he's like, well, fine, we're going to Terran Mill to save her. Because this is Thrall. He's not going to abandon a friend that has shown him compassion. So even though we're trying to get him out of here so he can, you know, seek out his destiny, he wants to make sure that Taretha is going to be okay. I'll talk about her unfortunate fate after we get to the conclusion of this dungeon. It's not great. But yeah, this is the part of the dungeon where it's like, oh, it's an escort quest, because you have to make sure that Thrall gets there alive. I believe if he dies during this dungeon, we have to start over again. As in, like, I think he goes back to the basement, and we have to go back and get him. I'm not entirely sure about that, because I don't know if I've actually experienced what's like if Thrall dies in this dungeon. Now, you'll notice he's actually avoiding the main road. That makes sense, considering that if he just goes into Terran Mill, they're going to be like, oh, it's an orc! Now, sometimes Thrall will just be like, hey, you know, like, it's a bear, and just go attack it when we're not trying to actually attack it. But, like, he'll see something, he'll just go attack it. And you ever have one of those runs where the DPS just attack something, and the rest of them like, oh, gosh, why'd you attack that? We didn't have to attack that thing, you know? Like, we could have avoided it, but no, you have to go attack it. All right, fine. Like, Thrall was going at her, he's like, a bear! Never mind. I guess they changed that. He'll attack that spider, though. Okay, that I'm okay with.
In your debt, strangers.
There goes the horse. And yes, Blackmore taught him to ride horses.
Loktar, friend.
Again, I apologize, it's skipping the dialogue. I don't know what's causing that or how to stop it. Now, this is another nice little Easter egg here. That's young Blanchy. You may remember old Blanchy, or, well... Sinrunner Blanchy. Yeah. So, Thrall accidentally spooks Blanchy. I thought I saw something go into the barn. Something riled that horse. Let's go!
Thank you, strangers. You have given me hope.
Taretha isn't here. Let's head into town. Ignore us, peasant. Julie Honeywell? Thrall's trapped himself in the chapel. He can't escape now. Taretha must be in the inn. Let's go. Innkeeper Monica.
Blackmore has much to answer for.
There she is.
Good day to you.
Encased by a powerful temporal force. Thrall, you escaped! Taretha, what foul magic is this?
Loktar, friend.
I'm glad Taretha's
What is
alive.
it you
We
wish?
now must find a way to free her from her magical bindings.
How are you? Have a good one.
Come outside and face your fate.
Who or what was that?
Taretha's life hangs in the balance. Surely you care for her. Surely you wish to save her. There you are. I had hoped to accomplish this with a bit of subtlety, but I suppose direct confrontation was inevitable. Your future, Thrall, must not come to pass. And so, you and your troublesome friends must die.
This day is long overdue. Out of my way!
So this, I believe, was one of our first times actually seeing an infinite dragon.
I have earned my freedom.
But yeah, a lot of the Terran lookouts were actually infinite dragons.
I will seek out my destiny.
Enough! I will erase your very existence!
Epoch Hunter. The mysteriously named Epoch Hunter is an assassin from the Infinite Dragonflight sent to alter the course of history by killing Thrall before he can escape from Durnhold.
Loktar, friend. What
The
is...
shadowy Drake has slain countless beings in service of his cause, but this will be his most important kill. He will summon every ounce of his strength, power, subtlety, and cunning to bring about the end of this timeline. I did want to risk him killing Thrall. I'm free! Thank you all! I'm glad you're safe, Teretha. None of this would have been possible without your friends. They made all this possible. Thrall, I've never met these people before in my life. Then who are these people? I believe I can explain everything to you two if you just give me a moment of your time. That spell should wipe their memories of us and what just happened. All they should remember now is what reality would be like without the attempted temporal interference. Well done. Thrall will journey on to find his destiny, and Teretha... her fate is regrettably unavoidable.
Goodbye, Teretha. I will never forget your kindness.
They call you a monster, but they're the monsters, not you. Farewell, Thrall. So, I'm about to spoil the end of the book for you guys. It's kind of important to understand what just happened and what he just referred to when he said her fate is regrettably unavoidable. So she was the one, and they did find out that she was the one who was actually being nice to him and kind to him and helped cause him to escape. Unfortunately, Blackmore also... Keep in mind that she was also there as a young girl until she became, as you saw, a young, beautiful woman. Which means that also Blackmore, and I hope that this is not the case, that Blackmore and possibly some other men in Durnhold Keep were starting to sleep with her and use her for sexual favors and such while she resided in this place. That after Thrall left, and they found out that she was responsible, she was going to try and see if she could continue to use that to throw them off the scent of him as well as her, helping him get out. So we follow Thrall. As I said, he finds Grom, he finds Drekthar, he finds Orgrim Doomhammer, he helps free the orcs in the camps and such, and then he returns here to not just confront Blackmore and take him down, but to also see Teretha again. Why wouldn't he? She helped save him. Well, all the other humans have started to understand what's going on when they also start to see all these orcs together, but also when they find out that Thrall now has all this power because he has now become a very powerful shaman at this point and has been using the power of the elements to free the orcs and restore the horde. He also becomes the new war chief at this point, wearing Doomhammer's mail as well as wielding the Doomhammer. Blackmore comes out completely drunk when this happens, and he's just taunting Thrall, not taking it seriously because he's completely drunk. He doesn't fully understand the situation. He then makes the situation even worse, because then he pulls out this sack. And he pulls out Taretha's severed head out of it, and he tosses her head at Thrall. It is the saddest and worst moment in the book. And that is when Thrall absolutely loses it. I remember in the book, I believe it said that he dropped to his knees, completely devastated, looking at her head. And he beseeches the elements, especially the element of earth, to bring down this entire keep to the ground with a massive earthquake. And the elements answer happily and cause a massive earthquake that brings this entire place to rubble, and basically killing everyone inside, all the humans especially, including Blackmore. So yeah, Thrall gets back at them big time. At the humans and Blackmore that mistreated them horribly. But man, oh man, is that moment just so horrible. That was Taretha's reward for being a compassionate person to Thrall. And I am actually shocked that after that horrible act by Blackmore, that Thrall didn't become more hateful and resentful towards humans because of what they did to her. Yeah, it's not pleasant. It's a good book. I really like the book because it tells a lot of Thrall's backstory. But man, oh man, did that scene with what Blackmore did to Taretha, that really, that's one of those moments where when you're reading a story in a book that it actually hits you. And man, I was so sad for her. So when we do this dungeon and we actually have an opportunity to possibly save her, and he says her fate is regrettably unavoidable. Ugh. That just really hit hard. You have done a great thing. Alas, the young war chief's memory of these events must be as they originally were. Epic upgrade of the war chief's mantle. Though not really, because it's not like you got the Orgrim Doomhammer blackmail or anything like that. So, that was the old Hillsbrad Foothills dungeon. That whole portion with Thrall, that's the dungeon. All the other stuff I showed you beforehand, that's completely optional fluff and Easter egg stuff that I'm sure many players have never even bothered to go see or even know about. But yeah, this is all really cool backstory stuff. And like I said, if you want to know more about this stuff with Thrall and what actually happened to him here at Durnholt's Keep, as well as when he leaves and he finds Grom and Drekthar and Orgrim, it's all in the book Lord of the Clans. You can get the regular book and read it, or you can pick up the audiobook. They're both available. So I really recommend the book if you want to know more about Thrall's backstory. But like I said, that ending with what Blackmore did to Taretha is not pleasant. It's actually kind of depressing. But I still recommend the book. So when we come back, we will be doing one more of these time-traveling dungeons. And it's not as cool or as fun as this one was, but it is kind of significant. I'll explain when we do it. Stay tuned.